People know once we get rolling here, go live on Instagram too. Just get it all put up, and then we'll officially get into it. But I'm glad I can wear my app gear tonight. I can wear it proudly.
There you go.
All right. All right, fellas, here we go.
Sunbelt Syndicate.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Sunbelt Syndicate. We've got a app-focused show for you tonight, so we're all big fans of that. And Juan has decided to make his presence felt, and we appreciate that very much, as he is technically tied for the home run leader as far as the Sunbelt Conference is concerned right now. You get a nice head-to-head matchup with a nice rivalry there, with the other guy being from Georgia Southern. So a little story to tell there in that regard, but. Nice early season excitement before we get going along too far. W Energy, Fanplex Graphics, TSN Off-Road, Dano Seasoning, all affiliated links. We'll have some stuff if you want a little discount, and let them know that we sent you that way. But before we get rolling along any further, Marv, Seth, yeah, it looks like, look at this. Marv's finally not in Virginia. He's
I'm home tonight. It's nice.
Very nice. Seth, any warmer in Boone there? You and Juan getting any warmer up there?
Hey, today was a nice day, man.
Yeah, it was.
I think we hit 50s. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Not good for the allergies. Warm, cold, warm, cold.
Yeah. Never a great time when that begins to come at play. I mean, Juan, is that what's it like in Hickory right now? It was still pretty cold down there though, right?
Sunday was really nice actually. I think it was like high 50s, low 60s, but Friday and Saturday were still a little chilly, especially if you were in the shade when the shade came through, or Saturday when there wasn't a sun out, it was still pretty chilly.
Gotcha. That field is situated such that it gets a pretty good amount of light, or is there a large shade portion for some of the time when you guys are out there playing?
Specifically on Friday, so when we start at 3, the shadows are already creeping over home plate at game time. So then it gets pretty tough to see as the game goes on. And then you get some innings where you'll have the pitcher in the shadow, you'll have a space where the sun like creeps through the stadium, and then you'll be in the shadows too. So it's pretty tough sometimes, but it's not too bad.
Yeah. You guys consider that kind
ballpark.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Seth.
How do you like playing in Hickory?
I love it. I think it's really nice. They treat us really well. The staff treats us well. We had the tarp pool last weekend, which I think was pretty cool for the guys to experience, some of the younger guys that have never done that. But, we got the locker room, obviously, so we'll be able to get there early. We get situated. They give us the cages. They pretty much give us full range to use whatever we want, which isn't very typical of minor league parks. Usually you're limited on what you can do and stuff like that.
Interesting. I didn't realize that, but I guess it makes sense, right? Like you can't have access to everything for, I don't know. I guess they don't want you getting into certain things or making something wonky because it was working the first time around or something. But I've heard good things about that park. I've said it before on the show. I grew up going to that park as a kid, growing up in Hickory, North Carolina. So it's kind of cool to see App getting to play some home games there to start the season. And now with the satellite campus down there, it makes a lot more sense as well. Did you guys have a pretty decent crowds? I know some of those games start before a lot of people get off work and such, but maybe for Saturday, Sunday games, you have a decent amount of people in the stands?
Opening day, definitely we had a decent amount of people. And then obviously the Sunday game, a lot of the families will get out there. And, some students will travel down. But, I'd say it's pretty decent, especially for off campus. I'd definitely say it's pretty good.
Very nice.
Hey, Juan, I don't know who you got to talk to, but, man, you got to make a call to someone to have those games on ESPN Plus, because it's difficult for us that can't get to Hickory we're basically forced to watch live stats, and we want to watch the game on TV. So I don't know who you got to talk to, but make it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. My parents are saying the same thing.
I do appreciate that. So a lot of times when that doesn't happen, right, when it's not on ESPN Plus, it's nowhere else to be found. Sometimes Flow Sports will pick it up or something. At least App does have the access. It's not very convenient when you want to watch it on your TV necessarily. But if you've got an iPad or a laptop or a computer, they do at least stream it through the website, so you can go click watch.
Yeah.
Again, not the greatest camera work and everything else, but at least it's something. I do want to give a quick shout out. Your home opener, or semi home opener, because it's in Hickory. Dylan Shepard and Corey Hodges were on the call, and they gave our show a shout out. So I don't know if they're going to continue to watch or listen, or they just checked in at a previous one. But I want to say thank you to them for just mentioning us on the broadcast. So just happened to be tuned in, and we made it, fellas. We can call it quits. We made the big time.
We're big time.
Yeah, I was trying to reach out to them on Twitter and stuff. I couldn't necessarily find their handles. So if they're out there and they're following us, hit us up, because we'd like to give you a thanks for shouting us out in there. Marv, I think I heard you starting a question up here, maybe.
No, I mean, yeah, I'll jump into it. Juan, just kind of talk about the start that you're having to the season. I mean, you're obviously hit a couple out of the park. You just off to a great start. Just kind of what off-season preparation kind of prepared you for this, or what are you seeing out there that's leading to all the success?
I mean, yeah, I think we had a good fall. Obviously, with the hurricane, we had a couple of weeks where we weren't on campus. We were sent home or sent to wherever you could go to go train or something like that. But I think overall our fall was pretty good. I did get hurt in the fall. I pulled my hamstring, so I wasn't able to play in the 2 fall games that we're allowed to play. But I mean, I felt pretty good all fall. I felt like the coaches, we work really well here, talking about the swing, working the swing, and I mean, they build confidence in you that once you go out there and play, that you'll be ready to go. And doesn't really matter who you face, you'll have success.
Nice.
I like that. I do want to mention Tyler Austin's got a big time comment here. We do have a section now where we're going to the extra innings, the extra ball, so to speak. We want to cover that because we will talk about the 5-year extension signed in Montgomery. Just don't want to get off track from Juan and his time with us tonight. So we'll jump back into that a little bit later. So we've got a little bit of your bio up on the screen now. A senior first baseman from Weston, Florida. Obviously, you went to Charlotte first. You transfer into App State. Could you take us back through a little bit of how you made your way from Florida to North Carolina and then from Charlotte to App State?
Yeah, so I went to a JUCO. I actually have the hoodie on right now. It's a College of Central Florida. That was 2023, and we were pretty loaded. Marty Smith is the coach down there. We had a bunch of guys go to a bunch of D1 schools. We won the JUCO World Series. It was a pretty good run. That's probably as of right now, the best team I've ever been a part of. It was the most fun, obviously, because when you're winning, I mean, we won 56 games. We only lost 7, so pretty good record. I think we hold the record in the state of Florida in pretty much every offensive category. We were pretty good. So after that, came up here to play summer ball at High Point, which one of the coaches down there, they got me hooked up with a team up here. And from there, I actually talked to Kermit that summer too, but didn't end up working out, ended up deciding on Charlotte. And then last year I had the year at Charlotte. I'd say it was about an average year. Obviously, I wish I could have done better, could have done a little bit more for the team. We were pretty average. We were all right. I mean, we struggled a little bit. And then entered the portal. And, I obviously had Kermit's number. I had Coach Jay's number. And we just started talking again, and they started recruiting me again. And I felt like this is a place where I could call home for potentially my last year of college baseball.
Very nice. Yeah, I love to hear that. Is there anybody on the team that you had previously known or played with before previously? So
yeah, there's actually 2 kids. So Riley Luft, the freshman who got his start in right field the other day, who he went to North Broward, which is a couple 30 minutes down the road from where I went to high school. I mean, we played each other when he was a freshman. I pitched against him. He has videos on his phone. He'll show everybody of him facing me and stuff like that. We were riding the vans down to the field the other day, and he was showing people. So, and then Zamora, actually, I've known him since I was 11 or 12. We went to Cooperstown together. So that was because he was from Miami. We needed a couple players, and our coach ended up getting him to come to Cooperstown with us. And he was actually gross at Cooperstown. He probably hit 700 or 800. So that was my first impression of him, and I've obviously known him since. Played him a couple times in JUCO too. So I've known Zamora for a good while.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to. I know these guys have some questions for you, but you didn't give yourself enough credit there. So not only did your team get the JUCO World Series championship, but you were the MVP of that team as well, man. So, I mean, I guess that propelled you into the college aspects of D1 baseball, and I'm sure there was no shortage of suitors when you have that tagline associated with your name. What was it like being named MVP of such a big baseball accomplishment?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a blessing. I mean, obviously, like I said, the team was great. Like the coaches were great. Everyone was there to win. I mean, we had a good time. Obviously, JUCO, you hear some horror stories about having to do this, having to do that. But I mean, I can't say that about my experience at JUCO. Like, I think that's the best thing I could have ever done is went there, and I'm forever grateful for those coaches for giving me the opportunity to let me play first base every day. And I mean, we were really good, so it was fun. And then obviously after that, I started getting recruited pretty heavy after the World Series. So it was just trying to make the best choice for me. And I ended up choosing Charlotte last year, but I'm glad with the decision to transfer to App now.
Very nice. We are too. Marv, I know you got some really good hitter questions here. So give him one of your favorite questions that you like to lay out.
I've got two. So I'll kind of start off with this one. After the year that like Tolly had last year, everyone's like, man, App hits the ball at the ballpark. Any pressure to come in and be like, hey, we're just gonna hit tanks all the time?
I mean, yeah, like since the fall, I mean, the guys impressed me when I came in. Like you got guys like Graham Smiley who's hitting absolute nukes. You got Cam Miller too. He rakes. So like you got those guys that even though Tully might have hit a lot of home runs last year and those guys were maybe on the backside, I mean, these guys still have an immense amount of pop that show it off every day. So like it was still, I thought even with losing him, I still thought that the team had a crazy amount of pop just coming in.
Yeah, and question we always like to ask hitters, and we ask pitchers the opposite question to see which one they despise the most. But all right, big time play, right? Bottom of the ninth, you hit a tank to tie the game. Bat flip, slow trot, both.
I think I'd go with the slow trot. I'm not a big bat flip guy.
Pitchers say like unequivocally that they hate the slow trot more than the bat flip.
Yeah.
So you do it on purpose then, Juan?
I don't know if I'd say I do it on purpose. More just soaking in the moment. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You got to, man. I mean, I don't know. Unwritten rules, I know, but I love that stuff, man. It gives the flavor and the excitement to baseball. You know, I mean, you have to feel something when you watch and play sports. And I feel like that's one of those moments. Like you said, you don't necessarily even do it on purpose. It's something you're just living in right in that very second. Of course, if you see it back later, you're like, probably could have gone a little faster or done this a little different. But I don't know. That's one of the things to baseball to me that I hope never goes away. Charging the pitcher's mound too. I know that's not really at the college level necessarily, but also something that's just incredibly exciting. Seth, I don't want to leave you out here, man. You gotta have something you want to ask, right?
You good, man. Start talking about the start you're off to, Juan. Is this something you kind of expected coming out of the gate hot? Is that something you had planned on, or do you think you would have worked into it a little bit more?
I mean, obviously, every year you want to try to start as good as you can. It just sets you up for a successful year. But, I mean, to start like this is pretty good. It feels good. Just got to keep going, try to continue it. Obviously, try to have the team win a couple more games as well. First weekend, we lost a few that I think we should have had. But I think going on, we're in a good spot, and I think everybody's going to start to pull in the right direction together.
Yeah. And I think one takeaway, too, is like that High Point game was tough, but with still one of the only undefeated teams in the country at this point. So that's a pretty darn good team there in that one.
RPI of like 2 or 3, I think I saw.
Well, yeah. Is somebody doing RPI?
Yeah, I looked it up today. It's way too early in the season. You got to like Omaha took a game from LSU this weekend, and they're 2-4, and they got an RPI of like 17. So I don't put a lot of weight into that.
Yeah, that is
a little
very rough. Our resident baseball guru, Artie Cat, has a question for you, Juan. What's your favorite MLB team, and do you have any hobbies outside of baseball? That's a good one.
Yeah, so my favorite MLB team is the Marlins. Obviously, we haven't been good in a couple of years. We're just in a rebuild that continues forever. So I think the last time they were good was the COVID year, but I wouldn't even consider that a real season. So, and then any hobbies outside of baseball, I kind of just like to hang out with the guys. I mean, we'll play some video games here or there. We'll run some 2K tournaments and stuff like that. But other than that, just hang around the guys. I mean, go hit. We honestly are at the field a ton. So if you see any of us, it's usually either at the field or we're at each other's houses.
Nice. So you said hanging with the guys, and we've heard, at least a couple of us here on screen have finally heard of this game called Mafia. Is that an also popular game with you guys on bus trips and whatnot?
I say we haven't started yet. I don't think we've had a long enough bus trip, but definitely on our trip down to Charleston, I'd assume we're going to play a lot of Mafia. So that's a big one. That's a big one. Every college I've been to, that's been a big one. So I think that just runs throughout the whole college ranks.
Is that something, again, we're kind of just finding out, is this something that you've done or known about since like you were a teen kind of thing, or was it earlier than that, or is it more recent?
No, I actually learned how to play in summer ball. So I had no idea how to play before then. And I think it just comes down from like the older guys. They teach the younger guys how to play, and it just keeps going like that, kind of from generation to generation. And I mean, everybody loves it. Usually you hear who wants to play Mafia and 25, 30 hands go up on the bus. And it's kind of hard to play with the game with that many guys, but I mean, you'll just squeeze it in so that everybody has a good time.
Are you what do they call a narrator? Are you that type of guy, or are you somebody else in this game typically?
I've narrated a couple times, but usually I just like to play. I think the narrator definitely has the best job because they how they tell the story makes or breaks the game. But I usually just like to play.
Gotcha. I want to throw up another graphic, and then you guys can ask whatever questions because this is incredible stuff here from the team in general, and then obviously you're first on the list as well. And I guess Figueroa was on there twice. I guess I was making sure you didn't have a brother or a twin on the team. So I'm like, I don't know. From that picture, it's hard to tell if it's the same dude or not. But yeah, he just made the list twice. Maybe for me, Marv and Seth may know these things. Top exit speeds. Can you translate that for a layman as me? Like, what does that mean? Where is it measured? And what kind of output does this help you get, I guess?
Generally, just the harder you hit the ball, the more chance you have to get a hit. I mean, it's obviously harder to catch a ball or to field a ball that's been hit over 100 or 110 plus. So generally, the harder you hit the ball, it equals hits because you also have to hit it at the right angle to be able to get it to that exit velocity and stuff like that.
Interesting. Okay. That helps me a lot because I was like, where is it measured at? Like right as it leaves the bat, or is it like closer to the pitcher's mound, or I don't even know. Is this just a gun like they have for the pitchers coming in? Is it going out instead kind of thing? Is that how this works?
Pretty much, yeah. Like if sometimes they'll have the gun, and if you hit it hard enough, it'll pick up on the gun too. So
okay.
I've noticed app tracks this quite a bit. I'm just wondering like how far we've come. Like was this something of a focus 10 years ago, or is this just something we really started looking at over the last 5 or 6 years?
Yeah, that's a good point. Shout out to you. It's hard to see probably on screen. Maybe I can jump to the full screen layout real quick. But App State has their own baseball analytics Twitter feed where they put these types of graphics up and type of information up. So if you are interested in this stuff, whether you're an app fan or not, it's very interesting, at least like to someone like me who, obviously wants to learn about some of this stuff and understand it a little better. But just to see those numbers, as miles per hour up on the screen, all exceeding 100 is pretty incredible for, I would assume, any team to have that many guys up there with that kind of bat speed and power too, because I guess I'll go with that since we were talking about it a little bit. Is there a certain program or a certain weight workout or something like that diagram drawn up that you guys are all trying to kind of follow together, or is that kind of stuff more specific to the individual as you guys go throughout the season?
I'd say it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think Nick who's our strength coach, Nick DaCosta, he does a really good job of getting us ready to play, getting us big and strong. So I think obviously the stronger you are, the harder you're going to hit the ball, the faster you're going to swing the bat. So that plays into it. But it's also on the technical side where you have to have a technically sound swing to be able to hit the ball coming in. Because if you're big and strong, you swing the bat hard, but you can't hit the ball, it doesn't really matter. So you have to have a little bit of both. It's a good balance.
Nice.
Yeah, and Dom and Seth, 108 with a BB core bat. That's I think flew off. It's really hard.
Yeah, I'd say it did. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near somebody swinging a bat that fast. So I'll stay in the stands, Juan. You're good to go for me. I'll just cheer you on from out there.
Appreciate it.
Juan, we've had Coach Smith and Braxton and Caleb on at the beginning of the year. Everybody's goal is to win a national championship. Realistically, like what's the goal here for App? What are we looking at towards the end of the year?
I mean, hopefully just be able to be competitive in the Sun Belt, hopefully win the Sun Belt, and then make it to a regional and see how far we can go. I mean, I think we have a good group of guys. I mean, everybody wants to win, which is a start. Sometimes you have some teams where there's some sides divided. But I think this team is good collectively, and I think everybody has their mindset on winning the Sun Belt and trying to make a regional.
As a hitter, well, first of all, I guess, is Charlotte a natural playing surface, or do they also play on turf field for baseball?
It's half and half. So the outfield's natural, and then the infield's turf.
Okay. So as a hitter, this is one thing we've talked about natural and turf. As a hitter, it's probably not as important, right? I mean, it's all about the upper body for the most part. Obviously, there is a leg portion that's important. But for you, when you go into a batter's box, I mean, are you hoping to dig into the dirt a little bit? You kind of like the turf aspect? I mean, what do you prefer in that sense?
Honestly, the turf is nice because it's consistent. Sometimes you'll go to some fields and you'll have a big divot in the back, and it's kind of uncomfortable. You got to kind of watch where you step, but at least on the turf, you can stick your foot in the same spot every time, and there's not going to be a hole, or it's not going to be uncomfortable where you put your foot.
Nice. That makes sense. I've seen some of those, not so much in the nicer fields at the bigger levels, but where the little kids play, you're like, I don't know how this kid's going to like jump out of this hole and start running towards first base after he gets this hit. But I'm sure Marv sees some of that on some of the fields his kids play on, right?
Man, we're lucky where we play in the like leagues and events that we play in. They do a really good job of maintaining the fields. Like towards the end of a tournament weekend, you can definitely start to see it a little bit. But when you show up on like a Saturday, they're pretty well taken care of.
Nice.
Hey, Juan, I got a quick question for you. And I know no game is more important than the next game, right? But looking at your Sun Belt schedule going forward, obviously your first year, where's an away venue that you're looking forward to playing at, whether it's the team you're going to play, the atmosphere, the facilities, just an away stadium that you're looking forward to playing in?
I think, especially on this schedule this year, is probably Coastal Carolina. Just going to that field, I think the majority of the guys on the team would answer that. I mean, growing up and seeing them win the College World Series in 2016 when they won, obviously it was all over YouTube and stuff, the upset, whatever. So, I mean, that stadium's always been something that you just dreamed of going to, and then it's obviously in Myrtle Beach, which is really nice too. So it's right on the beach. So I think the guys are excited to go there.
Let's not make Conway that nice. Come on. Come on. We're not on the beach. We're not on the beach.
Like a half an hour from the beach, but they'll lie to you all the time and tell you it's on the beach.
They'll probably put these guys up right at the beach, though, right? I mean, I don't know. Did they discuss that with you? Because some of these guys on the team has obviously been down there at Coastal. Do they get you guys right up to the beach, or you right in Conway, or do you know yet?
They haven't told us, so I have no idea. It's going to be a surprise when we get there.
I can tell you a few places not to stay in Myrtle Beach.
Is it story time, Seth? Is it story time? No, I'm just kidding.
About 18 years ago. Juan, what's your favorite thing about Boone and your most disliked thing about Boone?
I'll start with the most disliked thing, and then this is just me being from South Florida. It's probably the cold. Yeah. It gets cold. It gets windy. It gets rough. I mean, there's a lot of Florida kids on the team, so I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's tough. We would have never expected to be up here in the mountains and the wind and stuff like that. You get snow. I mean, it's mid-February. We're still getting snow. It's 80 degrees and sunny down at home. So, and then my favorite part would probably just be the views. I mean, you drive around campus and you drive around the city, and everywhere you go, you just see the mountains. It's beautiful. So, I mean, there's a give and take. You got to deal with the bad part about it, which is the cold, but you also get to see the beautiful views every day. So that's a good part.
Do you like the fact that it doesn't get insanely hot too? I mean, that's got to be kind of a nice payoff as well, right?
That is sweet. Yeah, that part is good because, I mean, down in the summer in Florida, that's just brutal. You're getting humid, hot, and it's just sweaty. Here at least you can breathe a little bit during the summer.
Yeah, definitely. No. What do they say in Boone? You don't really need the AC up there, right? I mean, you do to an extent, but you don't have to. You can live without it. You cannot live without the heat, though. I'll tell you that. That is a must. As a guy who's got a really good start to the year, has been consistently pretty good throughout your career in college as well. You've got to have some kind of ritual or something you do before every at bat. Is there something kind of small? Is it a big deal? Is it something you eat before the game? I mean, are you a superstitious kind of guy in that sense?
I wouldn't say I'm very superstitious. I just try to go with the flow, I guess. If something's working, I try to keep it going, but I'm not set in stone on that specific thing. So, I mean, I guess I'd say a little bit, I guess, but not a whole lot. Nothing specific, nothing that I've carried with me throughout my years of college or anything like that.
Okay. Not bad. We know that Austin and some of the guys did the football helmet celebration last year before the season started. Church and Cross were talking about it, saying there's some kind of surprise, but they weren't in charge of it, so they didn't even know what it was. Has that revealed itself, and what is it, if so?
Surprise-wise, I don't know. Maybe they're still coming, but, I mean, we did have the football helmet the first series, and I don't know where they picked it up. Must have been a Pee Wee App State football helmet because it didn't fit on anybody's head. So, I mean, the helmet hasn't been seen since the second or third game because it didn't fit on anyone's head. So I'm wondering if they're trying to go get another one or what. But that one didn't fit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Some big heads on the team then, huh?
Yeah.
Juan, we usually will preview every team, how the weekend went and things like that. I took some notes from the series this past weekend, and I was like, you know what? If I've got Juan on one, I'll just let him recap everything that happened this weekend with the sweep. So if you want to break Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down, if you got a few minutes just to tell us how everything went. I know Caleb had a big game Friday night. Just kind of talk about the weekend. I know you had a big weekend and how everything went.
Yeah, so Friday, obviously, dominant performance by Caleb. He shoved. We needed that one. We needed to give the guys in the bullpen some rest, and then the guys that came in to close it out too. I mean, 1-0. I think that's our first shutout I think I saw since 2021. So I mean, that's big time for the pitchers and for the team. That brings the confidence up for sure. And then Saturday was
runs.
Yeah. Saturday was a good
run
game.
Support at all.
Yeah. Saturday was a good game. I mean, it was well fought. I think I don't remember what the score was. Something like 7-4 or 8-4, something like that.
7-5.
7-5. But yeah, no, I think Marks pitched really well. I think he did pitch well, and then obviously I think the bullpen came in and did their job. They steadied the game a little bit when we thought it was going to get out of hand. And obviously, I mean, can't speak enough about the freshmen coming in and playing. I mean, that was Riley's first game. He got 3 hits that game. You got Litch playing shortstop. He's basically pencil him in for 2 hits every single game. So, I mean, they're just always getting on base for the guys behind them. So that worked really well. And then on Sunday, it was a little bit more of the slugfest. I think Irv pitched really well. I think sometimes he gets the short end of the stick. There's a blooper here, a blooper there. But for the most part, I mean, I think our pitchers pitched well. There was just a lot of bloops, a lot of shift beaters, which it's going to happen. Can't do anything with that. And then I think the offense responded when they needed to. I mean, Zamora had the big hit. Obviously, he had the grand slam to bring us back into the game. And then I think we just kept chipping away, and we ended up with the win. We won by 4, I think. So, I mean, felt good.
Yeah. Big home game this week, right? Wake Forest comes to town, correct? No, then next week. I'm sorry.
That's next week.
Who's the midweek? ETSU tomorrow,
We got
correct?
ETSU tomorrow, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Gardner-Webb this weekend come
Gardner
home,
Webb,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
First home series.
Good deal.
Very nice. Well, we know that where's it? I skipped it. I went backwards on this thing. We know that this is what you play for, Juan. So the reason we asked you to be a part of the show tonight is because you are barrel up guy of the week. I don't know if we need to come up with a better name for that. It doesn't really roll off the tongue necessarily, but obviously so far this season, 32 at bats, 6 runs batted in, 12 hits, 4 home runs. As I said, league leader in the clubhouse right now, technically tied, sure. But 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 25 total bases. So we wanted to just give you this award and say, you can hang up the cleats. You've done it. This is the award that you've been playing for. I know it's something you're going to hang on your mantle. So congrats. And no, but seriously, thanks for being on the show. I don't know if we're done even. You guys have some more questions?
Yeah, I've got one last question. I ask most players that come on. Seth and I both have kids, 9, 10 years old that love playing baseball. And every kid that's 9 or 10 years old wants to go play D1, wants to make it to the show. If you could talk to a 10-year-old version of yourself, what's the best piece of advice that you would give a 10-year-old kid to help achieve those dreams?
I think I'd just tell myself to have fun with it. Obviously, you want to go play Division I baseball, but I think having fun is the most important part, and that's what's going to keep you in the game. If you think of it as a job way too early on, you're not going to end up enjoying it. So just try to go out there and not put too much pressure on yourself and have fun with your friends. I mean, obviously, you get up and you keep growing. These are relationships you're going to keep on for a long time. So I know when you're young, you might not remember it, but as you grow up, I mean, I still talk to my dad every day. I play against this team and that team, and I'm like, oh, I played with this guy on this day on this team. So, I mean, it's funny how baseball just connects itself all around. So, I think that's the biggest thing, just having fun with it.
Very nice.
I'm going to throw in one more extra question. You are listed as a senior, but you had the JUCO year for sure. Is this still like an open-ended season for you? Is there a possibility of returning? You certainly going to be done. The pro prospects, I mean, like, what kind of way are you leaning, or what kind of eligibility do you maybe still have left?
Yeah, no, so I technically do still have my 5th year if I were to want it or if I were to take it. Haven't really figured out completely what I want to do, but I mean, it's still very much open, and just whatever happens, but I'm going to take it one day at a time so far.
Nice. Can't blame you there, man. Like you said, enjoy it, man. All three of us are far removed from our college days, and I know we would love to relive them and keep them going as long as possible. So just enjoy your time there. And I don't know, you got any closing statements you want to make?
No, just thank you for having me. I mean, I've seen the show a couple times, so it's pretty cool being on.
Nice.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate you being on here,
lighting
man.
up that scoreboard. We'll have you on again, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, we will see you soon, and have a good night, and keep it rolling for the app.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Juan.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. Let me see if I can get this fixed back up. Glad he joined us tonight. Thank you to Seth for putting that together as well. Working in the background to get us all figured out and together on all this stuff.
Seth really comes through in the public relations, getting the guest part.
Yeah, he does. That's what the mayor of Boone does.
Yeah, I'm no good at it. I brought 0 guests to the table, so thank you guys for
Think
keeping.
about from the beginning, though, when we started this. Think about almost your Saint Laurent, how much he's really helped us out. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really got the ball rolling on this whole thing.
Yeah, and we'll give a shout out to Coach Maggs from South Alabama as well. I mean, bottom line is if your favorite team, yeah, we'll find out soon enough. If your favorite team didn't get previewed, it wasn't for lack of reaching out. That's not to throw anybody under the bus, but we did try and get every single team on, and thanks to Coach Maggs, we got a lot more. We got about half the conference total, and the SIDs at App State and ULM. Shout out to those two for responding and getting your coach and players on the show. Like I said, it's going to open the door for those types of guests to continue to come back on, and we will work in the background to still develop those other relationships and have your team shown and talked about more often as well. Speaking of other people's favorite teams, Ben James, a resident A-State fan, saying Red Wolves head coach Mike Silva got his 100th career win as head coach versus Eastern Illinois today. Yeah, we'll definitely jump into those. That's a great little mark to have there. But
you guys, guess
first
what?
of all, fellas,
Still suck at picking games.
yeah, we didn't get off to such a great start on the season. I was over all weekend, man. If I would have flipped a couple of those, would have been a little bit. Well, no, just one actually, I guess. But yeah, 1-5. You guys are at least tied at 2-4. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's 2-4 and being in the lead is terrible. We
Still not. I'm not a huge fan of the way we do this, but there's got to be a simpler way rather than.
Yeah, you can just pick who wins the series. Then everyone would have got the Southern Miss series, but we went hard from the beginning, man. We can't make it easy now.
I was gonna say, I will say that this is what sets us apart from everybody else's picks. I don't think there's a single other entity that I've seen that has them spell out what the exact series outcome is going to be. And we've done 3-set game series, we've done 4-game series, so we'll do it. And if you don't get the series correct, it is wrong. I kind of like it like that. It's not forgiving.
Kills me.
We could get better pictures. We all need better pictures. They're all bad lighting and not the same size, nothing. But at this point, we haven't gotten together to get our professional photos made for this podcast just yet. But
year 3, it's all come together. Don't worry.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait till year 3.
So yeah, I mean, the Cajun fans obviously were a big fan of Seth's pick. The only one that got the respect. Marv, if I hadn't gotten your pick or if you hadn't figured out that I incorrectly did your pick, you would have had that game.
You know, I don't want to win on accident. So, hey, congrats to the Cajuns, man, taking 2 out of 3 from a ranked team. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have 2 ranked teams now, correct?
We do have 2 ranked teams, Southern Miss and Troy.
Yep. Before we get to that, because Marv was on the topic, the ace of the week comes from the Cajuns himself, Andrew Herman. Complete game versus number 23, Nebraska, formerly number 23. Thanks to the Cajuns, they are now out of the top 25. 9 innings pitched, 2 runs, 5 hits, 9 Ks. And that's picture right there of him from that game. So
I want to give an honorable mention for ace of the week.
There you go.
Dylan Brown, ODU, pitched 8 innings, 13 strikeouts.
Woo! I like it.
And their 4-2 win over Charlotte. So we always say there's a lot of really quality arms in the Sun Belt, and there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Caleb Cross, man, 10 strikeouts as well.
Yeah, Caleb, man, you couldn't be happier for a guy coming off an injury to come back, and he's had 2 really quality starts on Fridays.
Staff in total Friday had 14 Ks. So
yeah,
nice.
I think JMU had 17 on Friday as a team, 17 Ks.
Wow. Yeah. And see, this is why it's fun to pick this stuff, because there's multiple guys we could have nominated, picked. These guys throw out guys. We'll continue to do that in the background and bring you who we end up picking. This one probably got the nod because they took down number 23, right? They took down a ranked opponent in that type of performance in a complete game against a ranked team. I leaned a little bit heavier that way this week. There were also some other guys that had the bats going as well.
Yeah.
But Juan was kind of this one that stuck out the most to us. So
it wasn't
just an app pick.
No, he hit 2 tanks and decided to come on the show, so he's more than deserving.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude's hitting 375 to start the year, man. It's he's getting it.
Oh yeah, definitely on his way. And I don't want Tyler not to forget that we're gonna get back to his question, but let's go through the series as we saw them happen this weekend. We also had like 4 games today that I think I've included every single one in the graphics as well as we go through here. So Blazers burn Jags. Unfortunately, the in-state matchup here did not go the Jags' way, losing 8-0, 5-3, and 9-7. So a rough outing.
In them power rankings this week, boys.
Yeah, well, we've got the groupings, so we'll definitely get that. Our power rankings will come out. What do we put those out? Like Friday morning, maybe Thursday night. Just depends what the schedule holds. But certainly before the games go off Friday, we'll put that up for our latest.
Hey, I just want to say something.
Yeah,
put a little respect on that Marshall name this week, fellas.
Yeah, we'll get there. You'll get your opportunity.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Zach Stevens pitched 4 innings, 6 strikeouts in that 5-3 loss in the middle game of this set. Tyler Brooks had 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Tough to pick out a whole lot of other big standouts. Unfortunate to get swept there by a team, not only in a team you probably don't want to lose to, but a team that's kind of in your backyard too. So unfortunate there. There you go, Seth, right on time. Marshall Thundering Herd. I also put a little tagline here. If you haven't noticed, every single game Georgia Tech has played so far this season has been against a Sun Belt opponent. So welcome to the Sun Belt, Yellow Jackets. We will accept you as a full member whenever you want. But this one finishes out 2-2 after a 4-game series. Seth, I know you got some notes for us on the Marshall Thunder and Herd here.
We were talking last week. Was it 4 games at Hawaii or just 3?
It was 4.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's 4 games.
Dropped a tough 4 games. And then you look at Georgia Tech coming in for the week, or going to Georgia Tech for the weekend, and you're like, it's a tough hill to climb. That's 8 that's a tough first 8 games. And let's see, Friday.
Well, a quick note to that, you said it's a tough couple games. They hadn't lost yet, right? Georgia Tech came into that undefeated,
right?
And they had beaten the 2 Sun Belt teams. So, you're looking at going, oh, Marshall's not necessarily a top Sun Belt team. That's not going to be looking good. But, yeah, go ahead, Seth.
Friday got off to a little bit of a rough start, had 3 errors. Georgia Tech had 13 hits on 12 runs on 13 hits. Saturday, Marshall finally got on the board 4-2. Finally got in the win column is what I'm trying to say. Georgia Tech only had 2 runs on 4 hits. Griffin Miller for Marshall threw 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits. And then on Saturday, they trailed 2-1 at the top of the 7th and came back and won that game 4-2.
That's a big one, yeah.
I don't have much on Sunday. I know they lost that one. I think that one was kind of a little fairly close. And then, like we were talking about coming on the show before Marv hopped on, today's win. They had 9 runs in the last 3 innings. They were down 7-3 and top of the 7th, came back and won that. You look at that game and you're like, could that be the one, a game that sets the tone for the rest of the year?
Absolutely.
Tying a series like that after coming off a terrible 0-4 Hawaii trip. Good for them, man. I told y'all last week, just because, don't stick them in the bottom just yet. I don't know hardly anything about Marshall, but they battled in Hawaii, and then to come take 2 of 4 from Georgia Tech. That's a good confidence boost to start the year.
Yeah, I would argue that the 0-4 start, when you look at the record, obviously bad, but when you look at how they performed in the games against a team as good as Hawaii, in Hawaii, they traveled literally over across the country.
Don't try. I told y'all last week, like, don't come back and own it, own what you had to say, and then now we took 2 of 4 from an ACC. I say I can care less, but we took 2 of 4. Hey, no, actually, you know what? I've got 4 teams here that I'm battling to the bitter end. Maybe Arkansas State. I'll let them go, but don't give up on Marshall just yet.
I haven't given up, but I mean, I think last week when we did the groupings, it was like you can't really reward 4 losses, right? Like I couldn't put them any. I couldn't put them any higher than the last spot we had. But when you look at the actual performance, the eye test, and a little closer than just a 4-0 or 0-4 start, you do know some things and understand some things a little better than what it looks like from the outside. All right, I guess. Marv, I thought I had it in order where it was like each one of us had one before the next person goes, but there you go. I already messed it up. But I'll grab the Southern Miss series against La Tech. I know that I had predicted a 3-0 series sweep. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen as La Tech takes that last one 5-2. But before that, Southern Miss blanks them in that Friday game 4-0 and then takes that first game of the doubleheader 8-4. In that first game there, Carson Pateau, I'm hopefully not butchering that last name, hits 5 RBIs. So a big guy bringing in the runs there and helping that out. And yeah,
it's a good La Tech team too.
They are good. Yeah. They're always solid.
Routinely good team, like you guys said. This is one of those ones that, of course, because of the rivalries and the conference history, you don't really want La Tech in. But as much as I've been looking at that, like, they would make a really good natural rival for Southern Miss as well because of the history for Conference USA, and those 2 teams just don't like each other at all. So
is it Colby Allen? Is that the Friday guy, the freshman? Have we followed him? He's the one that threw against Mississippi State. Stud.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I think you're right there. Yeah, and
that was
that shutout.
2 freshmen going against each other. That was a hell of a game. I think last Wednesday. That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah. Cross Sively and JB Middleton also kind of sticking out as far as the pitching was concerned on the weekend. And again, now ranked number 22 in the country, 2 ranked teams in the Sun Belt, 1 being Southern Miss. So a lot of good stuff coming up from those guys. I know that the season didn't necessarily start where they wanted to, but hey, what do you know? Sitting at a ranked team right now. All right, Marv, ODU, you're up.
Yeah, so ODU's off to a 2-4 start. They did get 2 out of 3 from Charlotte. Could have had the sweep. I think we all saw the way that first game ended. They were up 7-1 after 3. Then you just gave up a couple home runs. And then if you guys didn't see it, 11th inning, their center fielder just lost the ball in the lights. Kind of a crappy way to end the game. Game 2, that's when Dylan Brown came out, 8 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts. TJ also had 4 RBIs in that game. And then in the last game, the series cap, they scored 4 in the 9th to walk it off. So Kyle Edwards hit a 3-run home run to end the game and walk it off for him. So, could have had a sweep. Could have been 1-2 the other way. But they're on the scoreboard now, and tough game Tuesday. They got to play East Carolina, and then they're going to Mid Tennessee State to play in a tournament this weekend.
Interesting setup there. Yeah, Mid Tennessee, ECU, tough, but that one they've had. I mean, that's not a new game for them. They've played them home and away, I think, the last several years, at least last season or two. So not necessarily unfamiliar, but not an easy place to play, as Marv knows pretty well. And I think
I'm a little upset that not that we ever go off topic here, but I wish App and ECU would.
Man, I do too. I wish it would.
It wouldn't be pretty.
I guess just that's a driving distance game. It's 5 hours on a bus, but I mean, hell, we're driving 5 hours to go other places. That would be a cool to have a midweek in Greenville, then a midweek back in Boone.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just makes too much sense. If they don't end up in this conference at some point in time, I don't know. It's not going to happen until a restructure of the TV schedule, but I think they're also a very natural fit for where they lie and their thought process about which sports are important for them to invest in. So, all right, this one, late series end here. Seth, I don't know how much you got to see of this one because obviously they played two of these
Arkansas
games
State.
today.
They finally got a win today, right? I know that was their second win of the year, I think.
Yeah.
They battled Ole Miss pretty close last week in a midweek. I know they lost 4-2. Carson Tolbert.
Yeah, and the 10th inning, they were up in that one.
Yeah.
Carson Tolbert. Arkansas State only had 4 hits as a team. He had 3 of them. Me and Dom talked about before we came on. I think it's going to be a little bit of a long year for Arkansas State. A little bit high hopes last year going into the conference. I think they were riding pretty high, but I think it's going to be a long year this year.
Yeah. They did get one early against Morehead State. They won their second game of the year 4-1 before this 4-0 victory over Eastern Illinois to avoid the series sweep. Again, they had a double header today. So this graphic was updated like right before we went live just to make sure that I had that prepped and ready. So yeah, a late series and unfortunate outcome as well in that one. All right, Marv, take us down to Jacksonville for the boys from Conway.
Yeah, so, all right, Alabama game. You want to hear a crazy stat? That Alabama game, they gave up 9 runs, but only gave up 3 hits. So listen to this.
Wow.
They walked in 4 runs, had a run score on a wild pitch, and a run score on an error. 6 runs, to give up 9 runs on 3 hits is absolutely crazy. Bounce back against Ohio State, probably not the way they wanted it to go. They gave up 3 in the bottom of the 9th to send that game to extras, but they ended up pulling it away. Bodine and Barthel both had 3 hits in that game. And then, man, to come back and win a pretty dominant game against the number 12 ranked Wolfpack, kind of great way to end the tournament for them. Coastal's still really good in case anyone checked. They've
That's what I was about to ask. Where are we at on Coastal right now? What are we thinking?
We'll get to that. Save that for our little groupings. We'll have that better discussion because that was a good one last time.
They're good. They've still got a lot of power at the plate. I mean, like I said, Bodine and Barthel are phenomenal. They've got plenty of arms. Just crazy of that Alabama game to give up 9 runs on 3 hits. That's just that's stuff that I see for my 9-year-old team. But hey, it can happen to the best of them. But win 2 out of 3, beat the number 12 team in the country. They got UNCW midweek and Rutgers this weekend.
Yeah, not a whole lot easier. Rutgers is a formidable Big Ten team as well. Ben
That's the same thing, Ben.
I love Ben's response.
Yeah, wins the basketball show live.
I asked the same thing.
We do plan to go live on Thursday because we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. No weekend game as all the teams get prepped and ready for the tournament coming up. So we will be going live on Thursday to kind of wrap you up and get you ready for what that Sunbelt crazy. What I saw someone say it really well the other day, the Mortal Kombat style tournament for the Sunbelt basketball. So that one should be good when we get into that. So yeah, Ben, Thursday night we'll be doing a basketball show for you guys then. Cajuns comeback. This one's back to me. They did lose that first game to Nebraska 6-1, and you thought, oh man, I mean, at least I thought. I don't know what you guys thought.
Yeah.
The Texas Southern game was not a good start. That was a home game. They did not look great at the beginning of that, but they came back. They battled back. They did the same thing in the series against Nebraska. Like I said, lost that first one 6-1, won the second game 4-1, third game 10-2 to take the series victory over number 23 Nebraska. Again, knocking them out of the rankings, not quite positioning themselves up just outside just yet, because they are still just 4-3 overall. So they've still got some work to do to get a number beside their name, but a little bit of a little nice comeback. We mentioned Andrew Herman being our kind of ace of the week, 9 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, and that was against, again, the number 23 team in the country. Left fielder, shout out to Connor Higgs, 4 hits, just 1 RBI, which is kind of weird, but he was consistently up there knocking the ball around. So that's what they need, and that's what anybody needs, really, when you play a ranked opponent and to help take them down at home. I know the Cajun fans came at me in full force because I was the only one to predict a sweep for Nebraska. But hey, I told them all, I am happy to be wrong. I have no problem with that. Come at me with the trash talk. I'm not going to be upset that I was wrong in that sense. So, yeah, they complete this series win. And, oh, wow, look at this, back-to-back. I did not do a good job of dividing these up today, fellas, and my bad. Or maybe I moved like 1 or 2 in the right spot, and then I moved a couple others and screwed it all back up. So we'll go with one Louisiana team to another as ULM just ties a series as it was cut short due to bad weather. They go 1-1 versus Houston Christian. So not much to write home about.
Good for them, man. Good for them.
Well, then today they played Little Rock, a former Sun Belt Conference member, and they lost 5-3. So not part of that series, but it was a game that did happen today. Did get this one in time. Unfortunately, they did not win that one. They did win the first game of that little short series, essentially 4-1, before losing that second game 6-3, in which they were up 3-0 early and then allowed 6 unanswered runs the rest of the way. But a little unfortunate. Shortstop Colby Lunsford and catcher Tony Lindwoodell had pretty good weekends, but not enough to get this team to 2 wins or more, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, Warhawk's still one of our teams, fellas. I've got my shirt freshly washed. I've been wearing my hat all weekend, to be honest with you.
You didn't dry it.
You didn't dry it?
I hope you didn't dry it. I had to give mine to some 8-year-old down the road.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, still repping the Warhawks proudly up here in North Carolina. So we'll see how their season can improve from here on out. But strong start. First loss of the year, though, for the Bus Lot Boys of Georgia State. I believe this is a Marv team, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, they're 5-1, right? Would have thought that they would have got the sweep this weekend against UT Martin, but they take 2 out of 3. Not really much to talk about the first game, 9-3, kind of a dominating win. Game 2, they scored 3 in the bottom of the 9th to walk it off.
Nice.
Carter Bailey hit his second tank of the game to walk it off, and then they lost 14-9 in just a battle of hits in the last game. But hey, 5-1 kind of speaks for itself. I'm not sold on how good this team is, but 5-1's 5-1. So midweek game against Kennesaw State and the Bulldogs this week. So I think that Bulldog game will kind of let us know where they stand. But once again, 5-1's 5-1.
Yeah. It's not. Well, I'll save that. I'll table that discussion for when we get our groupings here in a minute. Dominic's saying, "What's up?" I need to hit Dominic back up. He texted me earlier while I was in the process of finishing all my graphics, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'll have to reach back out." So, thanks for joining into the show, Dom, and I will hit you up as soon as this show is over. Make sure I don't let that go too much longer. All right, Texas State again. This is back to me. Rubber match dropped. Unfortunately, it was a 1-1 series after the first 2 games as Texas State dropped that first one 15-3. I did not see that outcome coming from the Illini. Unfortunately for Texas State, it did show up. They did win that second game 5-2 before dropping that last one 7-4. So ultimately going down to a Big Ten opponent there. Never something we really want to see, but it does happen. Pitcher Bryson Dudley did become 3-0 on the year. 4 innings pitched. I think he's got 4 strikeouts on the that mid game there, the 5-2 victory. DH Austin Eaton, 4 hits, 3 RBIs, batted in on the weekend, but not the total outcome that they wanted. But those are a couple of guys that kind of stood out for me as I'm looking through what Texas State was able to accomplish there against the Illini in that matchup. All right, back to Marv. The Duke. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the Seth team. The Duke sweep. Canassus. I don't know.
I was sitting here thinking, I was like, JMU is going to be one of those teams in the middle of the pack that, like a quiet sleeper team that nobody, we're all thinking Southern Miss, Coastal, Troy, and JMU is just going to be sitting right there on the outskirts, just sneaking in all year, I think. Let's see. I had JMU obviously 3-0 on the weekend. Friday they had 17 combined strikeouts. Saturday had 8 hits, 6 runs, all across the board. And Sunday they were out hit 10-5, but still won 5-2. So
nice.
Finding ways to win ball games. A little bit easier weekend than last week at Florida State. I think they had a midweek against Radford. So it should put them at 4-4, I think, somewhere right in there.
4-3, yeah.
4-3, right in the middle of the pack. So I look JMU middle of the year. Don't be surprised if they're hanging around that third or probably closer to 4th or 5th spot in the conference. Yeah,
I'd say that that series against Florida State to start the year was not very telling, right? Like, it looks like Florida State's one hell of a baseball team. So that's going to be rough for anybody to start that. They haven't lost since. Now, again, haven't played the toughest of opponents. Maybe, again, we'll table that discussion for a minute, but you do have to take that into consideration on why they were 0-3 to start the year. But all right, Georgia Southern, Bulls, Spear, Eagles. Take this series 2-1, Marv.
Yeah, well, South Florida is actually a pretty darn good baseball team.
Yes.
I think Georgia Southern is going to be kind of like what Seth just said about JMU. I think they've got a good ball club, and they're going to be hanging around 4th or 5th and maybe make a run at it. Not much to talk about in the first game. They got beat 9-1, just dominant pitching by South Florida. The big game was the last game they won in 11 innings. Went and tied 6-6 at the end of 9. They actually end up giving up 2 runs in the top of the 11th. And then another awkward stat is they won on a walk-off, walk-in. South Florida walked in 2 of the 3 runs that Georgia Southern scored. Josh Tate goes 4 for 5 in the game. 9-1, 5-13, and then 9-8 win. South Florida looks, like I said, like they're a pretty good team. I was hoping that Georgia Southern could show a little bit better in the first 2 games, but good to battle there in the last game and not get swept. Yeah,
I did think I saw Hap got his first home run of the year. Obviously, a former guest of the show, so congrats to him on that one. Unfortunately, I think that was in the loss, though, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was.
It was. Good to see him get one. And listen, we talked about it earlier. Georgia Southern did not schedule an easy schedule at all to start the year. So they've got 2 midweeks at College of Charleston. We saw College of Charleston beat Coastal already this year. And then they go to Campbell down here in Boys Creek this weekend. And Campbell's traditionally a really good baseball team. I know that they had a lot of folks leave. They went to Ohio State, right?
Yes, head coach went to Ohio State. Probably a couple of players, of course.
Yeah, probably why Ohio State battled Coastal so well this weekend. But hopefully they'll get back on. I think you'll know a lot about Georgia Southern after these 5 games they've got coming up.
Yeah, it's a good point. I do disagree with you there. All right, I think this stays with you, right?
Yeah,
Marv?
It stays with me again. Number
down with the devil, I said.
Yeah, now number 21 ranked Troy, been ranked all season, by the way. First game, win 7-1, absolutely dominating pitching. Grayson Stewart, who's been on the show, I think he came in and threw 3 really solid innings. The only really game worth talking about was the middle game, 14-12, just firework game. Troy gave up 6 in the 8th and then 2 in the 9th, but it just wasn't enough to lose that game. Had 17 hits in the game in game 2. Sean Darnold went 5 for 6 with 4 RBIs and scored 3 runs in that game, and then followed it up in the second game going 2 for 3 with another 3 RBIs. So they can hit, they can pitch. Really good baseball team. Really hard for me to pick between them and Southern Miss, who's the number 1 team in the conference right now. There's a reason they're both ranked. But now they got Mississippi State and UAB in midweek, so that'll be kind of cool to watch them play UAB after seeing South Alabama play against them. And then they host Pennsylvania this weekend.
Pennsylvania, was it just last year or was it 2 years ago that they had a little run to the regionals, right?
I think it was 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say 2 years too. Yeah, because I remember going I didn't know Penn was any good at baseball, and I don't think they're traditionally. I think it was one of those kind of blips on the radar type of thing. But anyway,
Troy's only loss on the season was to Auburn, and that was a 1-run game. So they were preseason number 1 for a reason.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have any more? Okay, so we're getting to the best in class. Before we do that, Artie Cat did say that the last game was a little close there for Texas State, but weather delays played a little bit of a factor as well in that unfortunate ending for the Bobcats. And then Ben James says Arkansas State's got Southern Illinois tomorrow, and then SEMO on Wednesday. That would be Southeast Missouri for those who don't know who SEMO is, but that is their very strange shortened nickname. Okay, I put these graphics together, so you're going to see what I think. And these guys can tell me if they think I'm right or wrong. But again, we've got single A, double A, triple A, and then what we're calling the show, which is our premier teams. Starting down in single A, we've got ULM and Arkansas State. Anybody kind of want to argue those or feel some other
differ on ULM?
Yeah, move ULM up to double A, man. Don't
put the fork in them yet.
Those guys short yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like where you want to put them, but I just felt like, you have to look at the fact that they're not on a losing streak. I guess you could write it that. Like, they are still 4-2 overall. Or are they 4-2? 4-3, yes, because of today's.
Yeah,
they're above 500, bro.
They did lose.
Why are we putting them
2 in a row? Above 500. Again, this is not where, we have standings for that. This is for where we think the eye test is going to put them. So
I think they're a double A team. I think they're better than that.
I think they could be, but I was leaning towards the fact that like they slipped up against these lesser opponents, maybe to some extent. So I don't know. Also, double A was getting crowded, man. There was a lot of teams up in double A there all of a sudden. In double A, we have South Alabama, Marshall, App State, JMU, and ODU. You could probably argue with me, maybe you guys will, that JMU should be a triple A team because the only stretch they've lost to is one of the best teams in the country in Florida State. I don't know. What do you guys think of that line there with double A?
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I think as it goes along, it'll shake out, but no, I think that's good.
To argue your point last week, you said this was a week-to-week basis, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
South Alabama just got swept, correct?
Yeah. They got moved from AAA down to AA.
Okay.
They got punished for that. I guess this is a week to week, but it's also a little bit of cumulative, right? Like I can't reward.
We gotta have rules here, boss.
I mean, rolls up as we go, Seth. You know how this works.
Yeah.
This right here is going to be the most debated topic every single week. I know you.
This might be something we have to put towards the beginning of the show instead of the end when more people are tuned in. But we'll have to see how it goes.
I have no complaints on this other than maybe Georgia State. I understand. It is week to week, so yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I mean that again. That could be an argument. Like Georgia State record-wise, yes,
5-1, man. They haven't played anybody yet, but they're 5-1.
That's kind of my thing too. With the Cajuns, had the Cajuns come in with a really good record before playing Nebraska, and then they beat a ranked team in a series, I'd probably moving the Cajuns all the way up to the top, right? But like you have to take in a little bit of the fact that their cumulative record right now is only 4-3. It's got to be a little bit of a part of it, right? Like that's how you help make some of the arguments work.
Hey, listen, there's a good 4-3 and there's a bad 4-3. So
I don't think there's any debating the top three this show by any means.
I don't think so either. You're not putting any of those three down. That's for sure. The only thing I'm thinking is, are there any triple A's you move up? But I don't think so at this point.
No, I think if
think-
Texas State would have won their series, they'd have an argument
Yes.
to be up there.
Because we did have them up there last week.
Yeah, I mean, they had a big midweek win. I thought they were going to take 2 or 3 from Illinois, to be completely honest with you.
Same, I agree. I thought they stood a chance to sweep, but I know that's not necessarily an easy matchup. But I thought, with where we think Texas State could be and where we thought they might be. However, as Coach told us, a little bit injured right now, so that could have played an aspect of that. Like Artie said, weather delays, not getting you into a groove. I mean, that the same thing happens to Illinois, but who knows? I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, Ben's thing here is a good point, right? I mean, we've got Arkansas State down there, but then after Wednesday, A-State will have played 5 straight games in just 4 days. So a tough schedule. They were the weird ones this week because I'm like they're not playing Friday, they're not playing Saturday. What the hell are they doing?
Yeah,
I had 1 game Sunday and a doubleheader Monday. I don't know if that was flexed because of the weather and stuff. Once the schedule changes, it's hard to see what it used to be. It's hard to keep track with that. But anything else to touch on this best in class that we do?
no, I think it's pretty accurate.
All right. So I'm going to go back up to the very top. Bonus baseball, extra time, extra innings, whatever you want to call this thing. Tyler Austin's got one heck of a rant, and I'll do this screen so we can see everything a little better. The conference made another boneheaded, tone-deaf decision to keep the tournament in Montgomery. As a Troy fan, even I don't like that. They should have made every effort to have it moved back to Pensacola. No better venue than the Blue Wahoo Stadium. They literally sell out every event. So frustrating that we keep handcuffing ourselves in this conference. Fellas, thoughts on that rant?
I will say the same thing about basketball. Where we have our basketball tournament is probably the absolute worst place to have it. I don't know. I don't know enough. I've never been to the Biscuit Stadium. I hear it's nice. I don't know.
I don't think we know enough. Yeah, you're right. We don't know enough about. I mean, let's just be honest. The three of us, when it comes to a conference tournament, we think of Greensboro ACC basketball tournament. That's the home to. That's the blue bloods of basketball. When it comes to baseball, do I really care where it's at, to be honest with you? No, not really.
I would say I care, but I guess my best explanation at this point was what I put up on Rage and Review's X post earlier today. They had a poll up, but my answer would not have existed, right? I said, they said, do you hate it? Do you love it? Are you going to attend now that it's still here? Did you attend? Won't ever attend? Something like that. And my answer, I told them, was, what about somebody who's going to attend? I plan to attend at some point, but I haven't done it yet. So I don't have a strong feeling of yay or nay for 5 more years. Like we could go and think it's amazing and be like, yeah, man, we're cool with it staying here. Or we could have the opposite, but until I experience it, I feel like I'm not going to be up here or down here because it's going to be kept in Montgomery. I don't think for the 3 of us, it's going to be in Raleigh-Durham or Charlotte, North Carolina. So it doesn't matter that, it's not right around the corner from us, because I don't think it ever would be.
I mean, I think we talked about this with basketball. Geographically, Atlanta makes a lot of sense for anything, just because it splits the difference between the East and the West, even though I know we don't do East and West in baseball. But yeah, Dom, I'm gonna side with you until I experience it. I'm not gonna have an opinion on it.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've heard is like the attendance and everything. Well, you've got to look at the schedule that they've laid out, and it's not really just for the Sun Belt, but they don't really make these games easily attended for anybody, right? I mean, these games are being played at 1 and 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, 2 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Yeah. You could have it anywhere, and the attendance is going to be poor because you have to get these games in so that your championship game is on a weekend or Sunday afternoon. I think is when the Sun Belt tries to aim.
It's the harsh reality of kind of what we're trying to prove here is promote college baseball, but Sun Belt baseball in general. And to call a spade, the interest is not there as what it would be for a football or basketball tournament.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at when I could care less where it's at. More than likely, I'm watching it on TV.
Yeah, I would say because of the time and everything. You're right. I mean, most people are going to be watching this on ESPN Plus or whatever. I'm sure it's all still on ESPN Plus. I mean, Ben has a good idea. You could have it in a city like Nashville that people will want to go to, but at the same time, that's not right around the corner from anybody's campus. Like,
no, not. Look, I'd love to go to Nashville. Yeah, let's do that. But we don't even have a team from that state.
Nope.
Just for that fact, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. But let's go to Nashville, boys.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be for that experience at that point. Yeah, Montgomery is a major urban area and will hopefully draw good local crowds as well. And I mean, I think it has in the past. So again, I guess I can say I don't hate it, but I don't feel elated either. I don't know if I kind of like Seth was saying, I don't feel like I'd be blown away from you could tell me it's in the best baseball stadium in the world. And I'd be like, that's great, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be, this isn't your favorite team playing home games here. This is just a one-off tournament. So I don't know if I'd ever get elated over the announcement where this place is at or not.
I went to Montgomery for the second Camellia Bowl that App State played in and had a phenomenal time.
Yeah. I've not heard bad things, I guess. I just don't know if I've heard, besides Marv just now, say anything about it blowing anybody away either type of thing. So
no, it was had a good time. I go back.
I could see the Biloxi argument. I've been told by people that Biloxi's pretty beautiful. It's right there on the coast. It's got casinos. It's got a minor league team, I believe. Biloxi, trash cans or something crazy. I don't remember what their nickname is, but I mean, sure, if you want to change it around. I don't know if that's the other thing too, right? Do you want it to stay in one place so you can always know next year I'm going to go? I already know it's going to be there. It's easy for me to make plans. Or do you want to be like, hey, I'm not going to go for the next 3 years because I already went? I guess that's kind of the argument that could be made.
If you're trying to gain interest as well, I mean, moving it town to town not every year, but every few years might help build a little bit more traction, I think.
Yeah. Why not New Orleans area is what Ben is saying. I mean, I think, headquartered there for the conference itself, it's not a terrible idea, but I think you've got a number of other things that are already there, right? We've got a bowl game that's situated in New Orleans. We've got media days that's down there for press that's going to go do that. So I don't know if New Orleans is maybe exciting. They want to kind of spread the love out. I mean,
the city, the other thing that you get people to come, New Orleans is a city that people would want to go to. I think Biloxi is a city that people would want to go to. I think the league's trying to have consistency, to be completely honest. That's why we, do Pensacola and we do Montgomery, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
I still want to go and try it. I think we got to go hopefully this year, and we can give a really honest opinion at that after that.
Yeah, I think the one thing is Nashville's probably the furthest north I'd put the tournament.
I'd say Atlanta.
Yeah, but Nashville's further north, right?
Yeah, I'm saying Atlanta would be the furthest north that I would go.
Oh, yeah. You want it somewhere where the interest is. I mean, you can go see the attendance numbers across the country, not just within the Sun Belt, but baseball.
Nashville would be a fun city where people would want to go, but if you're going to depend on the local community to want to go and fill the stadium, there's no tie to any of these teams there.
The only thing you could do if you want that to succeed, Nashville or elsewhere, is you've got to take Bodine from Coastal. You've got to take anybody that you think has a shot at the pros, and you've got to push them big time as a conference. Say, these are our stars. They're going to be in your city, and they're also going to be playing at the next level very soon. But, you may not have that every year too. So that's a little tough to.
Hey, whoever wins the conference the previous year gets to host at their site the following year.
I've seen that thrown out too. I mean, Coastal people want it to be held in Myrtle Beach. I'm like, well, first of all, it's not going to be held in Myrtle Beach.
First of all, it's not in Myrtle Beach.
Actually, technically, Myrtle Beach has a minor league team, so technically it could be held in Myrtle Beach. So
That's not the worst idea I've ever heard. It's really not.
No, it's really not. That stadium needs a little bit of love, but
That's actually probably better of the ideas I've heard is Myrtle Beach.
All right, is Gil still the commissioner?
Yep.
Get him on the phone.
Get him on the phone. I mean, the other thing that this announcement comes with is likely Montgomery saying we will give you all kinds of breaks on payments that you owe us to rent this facility out or something like that. And it's just too good of an opportunity to pass up, right? Like the Sun Belt has to rent the stadium and pay money to do so and host a venue that they can not lose money on. They're going to be making money.
We'll give you the stadium and we get to charge for parking and we get the concessions.
Right. Probably something along those lines. Yep. Artie's still hoping the Sun Belt tournament comes to San Antonio, SeaWorld. He has to take Schlitterbahn, Riverwalk, Tex-Mex food. Yeah, the Schlitterbahn. What was that? What? It's like a water park, right? Is that what we got from last time?
I don't know, but I haven't had dinner yet, and that Tex-Mex sounds pretty darn good.
Yeah, it does. James, Ben is saying, what about somewhere west part of the conference? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I think Marv and Seth were kind of alluding to when they said, the next team that wins it gets to host it. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing that you could kind of make as part of it, but I don't think that's ever really going to happen, but whatever. All right, any last-minute notes? Marv, we're going to go let you eat some dinner.
No, man, I'm good.
All right, Seth, anything?
Looking forward to conference getting started so we don't have to cover something.
Yeah, ready to get into conference here in a few weeks.
Yeah, lots of homework for us to do. I'll be happy for less graphics. But appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks to Juan for joining the show tonight, and we will see you guys next week.
See you.